Hello, this is pretty new. I've never did this before. I'm going to record myself while making a game from start to finish. I'm using Blender 2.661 and I hope it goes well. I'm going to try to make Space Invaders. And of course I'm using a Mac, so all the shortcut keys feel funny. So first here is going to be the player, and this is going to be the camera. So get the camera in a good position. That looks good. Add an empty. Plain arrows will do fine. Parent that to that. Then we're going to open up the game logic. Should be in here. Going to add an always. Nope. Going to add a keyboard sensor. I'm going to set it to A. Call it A. I'm going to add another one. Call that D. Go down to motion on this side. And then we link these two up and it creates this bit in the middle. Motion. So okay, when we press A, we want it to move on the x-axis. So x, we want it to go minus x and then plus x. So there we go. That's me pressing W and D. No, me pressing A and W, and it's moving from side to side. Save it just to be safe. Whoa, the screen recording's pretty high already, and it's only 3 minutes in. Okay, so then in here we want to add a cube, scale it down a lot in edit mode, and then scale it outwards, and then we want to go to always, motion, do pulse mode so that it always happens, and then we want it to go on the Y positively. Go. This is going to be the bullet. So we want it to go really fast. Yep, something like that seems okay. So we go up here, we name it Bill. And then we go back to here, go to keyboard sensor, spacebar. I'll call that space just to be nice and tidy. Then what we're going to do is go for a edit object, add object, and then we've got Bill there. So then using that add object, the reason it's on another layer, it can only add an object that's not in the same layer as itself. So there we go. We've got shitting. So now what do we need? We need enemies. So add a cube. Sorry, my mouse is a bit sticky. I'm going to add, no I'm not. am I doing? I want it to be like that. And I'll also extrude these ones. Alt S do it. Nope. Do it manually. It's maybe a wee bit squint, but I don't care. Faces. There we go. There's our alien. I'm not going to go into unwrapping or anything in this one, so I'll just give it a material color. That's annoying me that that's like that. If anybody doesn't like that circle picker thing, it runs quite slow on my computers. You just go to system and then square SH and then it goes back to the old way. I'm going to save those settings. I'm going to set this to shadeless. While I'm in here, I might as well change the player to change it to white, shadeless as well. And then the bullet, I'll give it a new material, call it Bill, because we can use that later. Also make it shadeless. Then save again. Okay, we shoot it, it does nothing. His eye really is bigger, isn't it? Yeah. So, okay, first we'll just get this guy to die. When we're working on stuff, we can have multiple layers open for being able to see what you're up to. So I think we want to go over to the physics tab, change this to Blender Game so you get all the options. Then you want to go to sensors. There we go. And detect actors. And then collision box. Yep. Oh, I just stopped zooming in. And then this one we want to set to an actor static, I think. So then if this collision with material, we just called that material Bill. So when it does that, we want to edit the object and then we want to end the object. And then we go back to just the first layer and boom, it's gone. So what else do we want to do? When we hit that, we want to add to a score counter that we don't have yet, but be future proof. So we want to send a message called score. It doesn't matter what to, it'll just, the object we tell to pick it up will just pick it up. And then we move it above the end object, because if it wasn't there, it would end the object and never send this message. Okay. Right, we are going to have to do something slightly complicated. Go to an always sensor. Then go to an scene, or maybe game. No, add overlay scene. And then we're going to add a scene that we've not created yet. Plus a new scene. Add a camera to this one. And then add some text. There we go. So the reason we couldn't see that is because the camera and the text were in exactly the same plane. No, they weren't. Okay. There we go. Right, the thing with the game engine text is that you don't want to scale it. If you scale it, it becomes really pixelated. Actually, I'll show you. If you scale it down and then try to have it really close to the camera, you see it gets really pixelated. Whereas if you keep it the right size and just move it further away from the camera, it's nice and sharp. So we can use this both dynamically and static. So score. Almost forgot my rule there. Right, you need to move it further back. And then we'll duplicate this one. And then add a text game property. We want to change it to int. And we go to when it receives a message called bill, we want to change the property. We want to add to the property of text, and we want to give it a value of, let's say, 100. So we're going to add 100 every time it gets this. So if we go back to this scene, hopefully it should add the overlay scene. Nope, it didn't. Why? Oh, because we've not added it yet. Okay. I think we can also go in here and change this name. We call it HUD. And then hopefully it'll have updated. Yep, it updates it for you. So, oh, it's not picking it up. I bet you I've called it something wrong. I called it score, didn't I? So we'll copy that. Go to HUD. When it gets score, there we go. Okay, so we've got a scoring system. This file is already 2 gigabytes big. Great. So yeah, I think that's the basics of the game. Don't know whether I should make them be able to shoot you back or not. For the time being, you've just to kill them all. There's no threat. Scene. So, I'm actually going to change it because I didn't like the angle that that was at. We all know Space Invaders have a lot more Space Invaders than just one, and they move. So I'm going to set up the movement first. So you just add an empty somewhere. Plain axis is fine. Then, actually, yeah, we'll duplicate these guys first. Just press Shift D, Shift D, Shift D, Shift D. Probably delete those ones. And we can select all of them. Press Control P, and parent it to that, so that when we move this, the guys move around. So now we can animate this empty to have them starting from the top of the screen and then coming down. So to animate, we open up the timeline. Up here, dope sheet. This'll do. So at 100, let's see, there we go. We want them to be over here. Press I, and then they move from there to there. And then by frame 100 and 5, let's say, we want them to move downwards a little bit. And then by frame 200, you can do this more technically. But this is just a kind of tutorial mess around to see how fast I can make a game in the Blender game engine. So then move it down a wee bit again. Keyframe, go along to 300. Keyframe 305, down a wee bit again. Keyframe 400. All the way over here. Keyframe. Move it down again. Keyframe. Sorry, I probably zoomed this out far too much to make this quick to do. I was going to move it down, yeah. 600. Okay, that's going to be reasonably long in the game. So I'll call this next one the last row. So we're going to save, and we're going to play it. Oh, I realise it doesn't animate because we're not told it to. So we select the empty, go to always, then go to action, and then over here in the dope sheet we can't see the action name, so we have to change. So this is the dope sheet like section of the interface, and then you change that over to action editor, and it gives you the name, and you call that enemy move or something that you can tell what it is, and it appears down here, and then play. And if you put that, when it gets to the end, it will just go back to the start. So save. Oh, why is it not playing? Because I've not told it start and end frames. Okay. So you want it to start at frame 0, end at frame 700. No blend or anything, because it's just this. Here we go. And we got Space Invaders. So then last thing to do would be add a menu screen and a win screen, I suppose, since you can't lose. So I'm going to add a new scene. I'll do a full copy of this one and I'll delete that. Space Invaders Blender. I don't know if the text alignment tools work in the game engine, but they're over here. I think you can do bold. See if you can do center justified. Nope. Just that. I think you can convert this to mesh. And then there we go. That is also good for static stuff. You can scale it and do whatever you want with it. One other thing, we can change the background color to be black. Hopefully. Or not. I don't know where they've put that setting now. I thought it was that. Try it again. Turn everything to black, I don't know. That's really annoying. It was working the other day. Where was it? You'd assume it would be in world. Okay, no background. Unless we just create a plane in the background, but no, that's fine. So then we want, if you press keyboard, any key, all keys, we want to change to scene. Scene. Then we change this from restart to set scene, and then we want it to go to scene. We want to call it 1 so that it puts that first in the list when we build the game, and call that menu. And then we can create a full copy of this scene and say you win. And then we can go down and convert it to a mesh again so that we know where it's going to be. And crap, I got rid of it, didn't I? We do keyboard, all keys, scene, set scene, and then we want it to go to menu. Let me call this one win. So then we're going to go over to the actual scene. No, we're going to go to the HUD to see when we've won. So then we go property. So when the property equals, when this text property equals, I think it was 800. Because I think we had 8 guys and they were worth 100 each. Then we want to go to scene, set scene, and change it to win. If we go back to the main menu, press play. If I press any button, it starts up. If I press spacebar, it shits. I can kill them. Hey, it says you win. That's because... Oh, I've got a double scene now. Something went wrong there. So I think I'm... No, I didn't. Yep, what I did was... in scene, because I've always got this showing, I think that's it. Maybe I might need to remove it, actually. Yep. Right, so you go back to scene. No. In the HUD scene, we change the scene. So what I want to do is remove the other one. So go to scene, remove scene, and then we can tell it to remove the scene called scene. But again, we want to do that before we change the scene. Otherwise it probably won't show up. Well, in this case it might actually. Ah, they're sneaky. Hey. And there we've got a game. And then if you want to build this out to so that people could run it, it used to be just under the file menu. It's now under export, but it's not turned on by default. So you need to go to user preferences, add-ons, and then type in game up here. Tick that wee man. Save user settings. Now if you go to export, it's down there. Or if you go to external data, well, no, when you're exporting stuff, you want to, if you're exporting stuff with textures, you want to go into the external data and pack, pardon me, you want to pack all the data into the blend file. Here it will say nothing's been packed because there was no textures or audio or anything. But anything external that gets linked in, that packs it into the file and makes it so you can actually see it when it gets exported. So you would go export, choose wherever you wanted it to go, press save, and then it would go. It's platform specific, so if you're on a Mac, it'll build one for a Mac. If you're on Windows, it'll make one for Windows, Linux, whatever. So you press it. On a Mac, it will say if it's not trusted or whatever, but who cares? And here we go. Oh, come on. Why can't I shoot? There we go. Okay, notice in there it did actually change the background world color. I think that was because I was in solid mode instead of textured mode. I think technically, yep, that'll work now. Sweet. Sorry that it was a wee bit unorganised and stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And if you like it, I might make another one. I've got a few ideas of things to show off how to make. Anyway, thanks. Bye.